Consumer Protection Act to be debated today in the House of Assembly, and 74 persons naturalized. All this and more when 284 News returns.
We understand that you cannot come to the store and encourage you to stay at home. If you need assistance with bill payments, top-ups, or troubleshooting, we are here to help. Call us at 444-4444 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, or visit our website at www.cctbvi.com. Click Top Up Here or My CCT for top-up or bill payments. Social distancing with CCT.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday, May 28, 2020. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And viewers, I am Javon Wilson. Welcome to another great edition of 284 News. Now, as we speak, Kyla, the members of the House of Assembly are currently meeting to debate quite a number of things today, one of them being the Consumer Protection Bill. Again, viewers, that is set to go before the court, before the House of Assembly for its second and third reading. And Kyla, I know this is very exciting news for the territory. And I think very timely as we head into hurricane season. Now, the people of the BVI, as we know it, have long complained about things like inflation, expired goods, high rent prices. We saw it after Irma and Maria in many instances, and just recently following the novel coronavirus, the world declaring it a pandemic, and everybody just kind of rush shopping for everything with the demand increasing. So again, I think residents are duly excited about this bill finally coming at least one step closer to becoming a bill in the Virgin Islands.
Most definitely. As you said, I think a lot of persons are ready for this Consumer Protection Act legislation to become a reality, because this is something that the BVI people have really been fighting with for years. I think we see a matter of inflation, especially in crisis, but just in general, the cost of living in the BVI here, it's really hard for some persons. So definitely excited to see this in the House of Assembly and hopefully in effect soon.
I agree with you, Kyle. And mind you, the Premier has reiterated that this bill will serve to protect not only the rights of the consumer, but also the rights of business owners as well. So it's a great trade-off.
Most definitely. But Javon, I think I just want to jump into this newscast on a really positive and light note. I think we've been dealing with so much, but there's some good out there in the world. So this story shows how one kind gesture can cause such a ripple effect. Now, young local entrepreneur Mr. Brandon Andrew, owner of Brandini's Lemonade, led the charge when he donated meals to some persons in need from some of his favorite local vendors. Alongside that meal, persons received a glass of complimentary Brandini lemonade. The business partnered with food establishments such as J Black's Jerk and Barbecue and Tradewinds Bar and Grill. So Javon, we caught up with Mr. Andrew, and we were really curious about his thoughts behind this gesture. So viewers, let's listen in to what he had to say.
What started the initiative for me was the fact that I got paid one day older than I would usually get paid. And in that moment, I was feeling really blessed, really lucky to have a job in such uncertain times, in such a time of uncertainty. And in just feeling so blessed, like, I really wanted to just extend that and just, I guess, reach out to somebody other than myself and just make their day, just pass along the blessing, basically. And I really wanted it to be someone who, I guess, really needed it, who really needed it. Because, I mean, everybody has a different journey, everybody has a different path. But for me personally, I could remember um, being in situations of uncertainty and not being on the better end of the stick. And, even though in those situations, some of those situations could be situations that are caused by self, situations that are out of our control, but that doesn't mean that others shouldn't, show some type of sympathy, show some type of compassion for you in your time of need. So I just really wanted to just, I guess, reach out to somebody who really needed it and just make their day.
Now, viewers, we heard from the owner of Brandini's Lemonade, but especially in this time of uncertainty and economic hardship here in the territory, this one kind gesture, as I said before, definitely created a positive ripple effect. Many local entrepreneurs and individuals showed support to the cause, donating meals for the less fortunate and even complimentary goods to go alongside these meals. Mr. Andrew, he explained his reaction to the community support towards this initiative. Listen in.
At first, thinking about it, I honestly thought that the initiative would have taken a, a while to, I guess, pick up traction. But seeing the overnight reaction to what was going on, that made me extremely, extremely, extremely happy. It just really made me feel like we have people here that care. We have people here that can come together and just have each other's back in such uncertain times. And those are the types of people that we need in the community. People that, when others are falling short, they extend that helping hand to pull them up and make sure everything with them is fine.
Now, Javon, of course, we encourage persons, and Mr. Andrew, he also encouraged persons who are interested in donating meals to the less fortunate. It's really easy. All you have to do is contact your favorite restaurant or restaurants to see if donating a meal to the needy is an option available. I definitely don't see why not. And also contact the Family Support Network to assist with contributing food vouchers to someone in need. Javon, I definitely love this story because a simple gesture could turn into so much. Simply when you're going to pick up your lunch, leaving an extra few dollars to pay for a meal for someone who is in need. I think we're in some really uncertain times. Our territory economically, some persons are suffering, and just one good deed could help many persons.
I really love that this energy has trickled down here in the BVI. I mean, we've heard stories about this in the wider Europe and larger nations across the world. It's called a pending meal, where, like you said, persons are able to pay in advance for somebody else's meal who may not be able to afford it. And in times of crisis, Kyla, that can literally save a life. So I'm very happy to see, like you said, it happening right here within the Virgin Islands. Not only that, but recently I also came across another headline, actually a post on social media that saw, I think, Pearl of the Orient, if I got the restaurant's name correctly. They were donating complimentary meals to the staff at BVI Health Services Authority, who, of course, are charging the lead as it relates to the fight against COVID-19. So, Kyla, it's a kind reminder that we all have a part to play, and collaborations like these, we kind of hope it becomes contagious, because again, it still takes a village, especially within a crisis.
Most definitely. As you said, I think many persons do this type of act of kindness on a regular basis, but we definitely want to highlight it because this is what we need here in the BVI during the crisis. Some positive energy. And I love this story simply because it was young entrepreneurs really leading the charge and basically showing the territory that they care and they are here to help.
And we all have a part to play in the end. Like you said, I see no reason why the restaurants wouldn't hop on board. It works out for them as well. So I think putting some type of mechanism in place to facilitate this type of activity is very important. Viewers, we have to move right along. Now, with the government set to officially roll out phase 2 of the economic response plan, which promises to bring some much needed relief to the territory, a lot is to be expected. Now, once declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization, BVI BVI's government took the requisite steps to effectively slow the spread of the virus. These stringent measures and, of course, a compliant public resulted in the BVI officially becoming COVID-free as of May 26, 2020. But that did not come at a cheap price. The economy, as we know it, was heavily impacted. Now, viewers, the BVI, as we know it, was paralyzed by the impact of COVID-19. Not only did it bring tourism, which accounts for an estimated 40% of contributions to our economy, brought it to a complete halt. But we also see, without a doubt, those effects being extended to small businesses, to medium businesses, and even larger companies who were then forced, to either downsize their staff or reduce salaries to keep the doors open. Some of them were actually forced to do both. Well, while the curfew has been softened over time, many residents are now financially frustrated as they await some level of relief. Now, with that in mind, we took to the streets, that's us here at 284 Media, to get the opinions of residents on what they think should be included in tonight's rollout of government's economic stimulus response. We're going to speak to just a few of them within this newscast. Let's watch.
First of all, congratulations to the government for even trying to create something to help the businesses and people that's been affected COVID-19. And speaking of COVID-19, they should have really thought about helping the businesses. And one of the best way to actually help the businesses and people is having a low interest loan to help get people actually going. More of a helping hand versus a handout. So that's something I'd like them to consider and put into use.
I hope the economic stimulus plan is very clear about what the government plans to do and what areas the government's really not going to be able to address. The simple truth is that the vast effect to health and the economy of the global pandemic cannot be addressed by the reserves that we have. That's a true statement almost everywhere in the world. Even in America, where they've probably put in $10 trillion into the economy and they've given money to individuals, they've given money to businesses that doesn't have to be paid back, they've given grants to big corporations, et cetera, they still don't have enough money. And none of those things are probably realistic for us within our community. But what the government can do, though, is the government can act as a facilitator. I think that's where government's role is best served. I don't believe government created any of the industries that are really prevalent within the BVI. All those industries were created by our forefathers. You know, those were the people who had those dreams and those ideas, and they found those solutions to the problems of that day. And I think we can find solutions for the problems of this day, too. I tend to have a lot of faith in our people and being able to find ways to compete and survive within the global economy. We just need to know what the rules are, where the government can facilitate, and then private enterprise and private individuals will step forward to try to recreate and redevelop this economy.
Very importantly, the economic stimulus plan must offer support for small businesses in a meaningful way. Whatever form it takes, it should be timely, should be easy to access, not too much bureaucracy, and it should be fair and transparent, which means it probably needs a fair level of independence in its administration. Specifically, it could offer grants or loans or a combination of both depending on the circumstances of a business. Some support for payment to employees would be necessary. Deferrals, waivers of statutory deductions to reduce the business's fixed costs would also be helpful. And quite importantly, there should be a program of business support and advice to help small businesses with their engagement with lenders, landlords, vendors, etc.
In my view, any stimulus package that's offered must be based on survival. We must survive COVID-19, and this survival should take us at least 12 to 18 months ahead. It's important for us to keep persons in jobs, which in turn will put cash in their pockets and in their hands to spend in our local economy. What we can do for businesses such as small or medium-sized business like ours, we probably should be offered preferential loan rates so that we can keep our businesses going and continue with the flow of funds to the economy.
In anticipation of the government of the Virgin Islands Phase 2 reveal of their economic response plan, I believe that they should provide different organizations and companies with monies to keep at least 75% of their staff on payroll. This would allow for monies to flow within the country as we are a transaction-based society, and that's what we need in order to survive transactions.
My three top things that I'm expecting from the Premier's announcement this evening is, number one, support for workers and families. I believe that our families are going through a very difficult time right now through COVID-19. There are a lot of unemployed individuals that needs the level of support from the government. I think it's important for us to give them that level of support, and I'm hoping that the Premier will come up with a plan that speaks to support for families and for workers. Additionally, number two, small businesses. Small businesses have been closed down for a very long time. Some of them since March. Some of them are really going through some extensive financial troubles. They need some support, need some sense of direction of where the economy is going and how we could support them moving forward. And number three, we have to find a way to reopen the economy. We have to reopen the economy safely. Tourism economy is important to all of us in the Virgin Islands, and it's important for us to learn how to coexist with COVID-19. And I'm hoping that the Premier has a extensive plan in terms of how we're going to open up the economy, how we're going to keep our visitors and our Virgin Islanders safe, and how we're going to move forward in this new dynamic of it that is COVID-19 and us living and coexisting with COVID-19.
So there's quite a number of opinions from, I guess, a wide cross-section of people, and that is just a handful of the persons we were able to reach out to. You can stay tuned to 284 Media this evening to see the full video, the full feature on what persons are expecting going into the stimulus plan this evening, 8 p.m. Now, as we know it, many persons have said, we need relief for unemployed persons. We need businesses to receive some type of grant so that they can keep their doors open so as to retain their workers and not have to necessarily lay off persons. We've heard several things, Kyla. We even heard Honorable Penn pushing for the tourism industry to reopen. So lots of opinions to go around. We're not sure what's going to be inserted within tonight's rollout. However, we do know that the government, within phase one of their plan, initially rolled out quite a number of initiatives as well. We saw $12 million being dedicated to the medical aspect of things as it relates to training, equipment, also retrofitting the isolation unit. Government also allocated a massive $2 million to feed and provide medication for persons in need. And this is, of course, we remember this from during the lockdown, and we're hearing, Kyla, that 20,000 persons were able to benefit from that program, shockingly. And then Honorable Kai Raima, of course, waiving water charges until June 1st. The Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley, being allotted just about $138,000 for the purchase of about 500 laptops, 800,000 being dedicated to garbage collection, among a few other things. Most recently as well, BVIEC announcing that a waiver will be allowed for persons who cannot afford to pay for the months of May, June, and July. So we saw some requisite steps being taken as it relates to relief, but nevertheless, persons are saying, that they're frustrated. Some are saying that the damage is already done, but nevertheless, we really look forward to what's going to be rolled out within the stimulus plan. I know within the region, we've seen it happen already. Our Premier has reiterated several times that this is a process that cannot be rushed, as we only have so much to go around within our reserves. But nevertheless, again, people are really anxious to see what's going to happen tonight.
Most definitely, Javon. I think at the end of the day, at 8 o'clock tonight, people will be tuned in because people are anxious and people are ready to find out what's the next steps. We must commend our government because, as you mentioned, that $12 million that were allocated to just retrofitting and making sure that we are prepared. And that's why on the 26th of May, the BVI can say, you know what, we're COVID-19 free, but it's time to move on to those next steps of what will happen with our economy. How can we get our economy back up and rolling? And we're definitely excited to, now I wouldn't say excited, but I would say we're very anxious to hear what the Premier of the Virgin Islands and the government will come forth with this evening.
I agree with you, Kyla. So once again, viewers, you can catch the full exclusive video. A lot of other opinions were gathered from across the territory, so tune in tonight to view that. Viewers, we have to go for a quick commercial break, but there's a lot of details to go over regarding the high-speed police chase that happened just last night in East End. Stick with us.
Eco? 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 Everyone is speaking about eco-friendly products. We wanted to take the time to introduce the Eco Island brand. Eco Island is a brand dedicated to providing you with a reliable and cost-effective solution. Eco-friendly products for your restaurant, hotel, bar, office, and home. With takeaway trays, bags, cups, paper straws, cutlery, and cleaners. For more information, follow us at Eco Island 100.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, this week, 74 individuals received their certificates of naturalization here in the BVI. So viewers, naturalization is a process under the British Nationalities Act of 1981 and the Virgin Islands Constitution Order of 2007, by which persons can become citizens of the Virgin Islands. Nationalized citizens become British Overseas Territory citizens, and as such, they may obtain a Virgin Islands passport and are eligible for United States visa waivers. They can register and vote in elections in the Virgin Islands and apply to register as a British citizen of the United Kingdom. The ceremonies were held in the Civil Registry and Passport Office lobby in cohorts of 12 persons. Of course, as the territory continues to adapt to the new normal, the occasion was observed in the form of a series of social distance ceremonies held on May 26th and the 27th. The ceremonies were chaired by Registrar General Mrs. Stephanie Ben, who congratulated the recipients on their new citizenship and said that due to COVID-19, things have had to be done differently given the challenges presented through social distancing guidelines. The new citizens, who can now be registered as British Overseas Territory citizens, as I mentioned before, recited the Pledge of Loyalty to the Virgin Islands, as well as the Oath of Allegiance to Her Majesty, the Queen. Mrs. Ben said that the reciting of the oaths is a legal component of naturalization process and has to be included with each ceremony, and urged the recipients to take proper care of their certificates. Now, we here at 284 Media want to extend a congratulations to all recipients of their certificate of naturalization.
All right, Kyla, very good story. I know we've been doing this for quite a number of years, and I guess it's a process that still, people still get very excited about. You know, naturalization is a process that makes way for residents of the BVI to eventually become belongers and eventually, like you said, become a naturalized citizen. And trust me, it comes, like we said, with a myriad of benefits. And I just look at it, too, as a great tool for integration. You know, when you look at the BVI, the breakdown of the BVI community, it's a diverse community, and with, you know, the requisite rights that comes with naturalization, I think it's pretty exciting for all 74 of our new recipients. So like you said, a hearty congratulations to all of them. Viewers, we're going to move on to a very bizarre story coming out of the East End community. This is just last night. Just around 8 p.m. last evening, members of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force were engaged in a high-speed chase that resulted in a man being critically injured. Now, according to the reports, the police tried stopping a vehicle who was in breach of the curfew and was led on a very dangerous high-speed chase throughout the East End community. It is also alleged that the victim injured may have attempted to exit the vehicle leading the chase and was critically injured in the process. At this point, viewers, we are yet to determine if the injuries were self-inflicted or it may have been, like many have alleged, he was run over by the police vehicle trailing behind. Now, in speaking with the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, we were told, quote, Police confirmed that they are investigating an incident in the Fat Hogs Bay area where a male person was in a collision with a police vehicle. The injured person has been identified and is currently being treated at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital. The police further said that, quote, a senior police investigator has been appointed and police are appealing to any witnesses to come forward at this point. Now, viewers, we are in receipt of the victim's name, but will respectfully withhold until an official release is made. But our newsroom was able to confirm that the patient is being treated at the intensive care unit. Now, Kyla, this is a pretty heavy story coming out of the east end, the east side of the island. That is a lot of questions ever since, the videos have been circulating on social media. And trust me, there are quite a number of them. I think every person automatically pulls out their phone when something bizarre like this is happening. But it really captured the extent of what was happening and how dangerous it eventually resulted in someone being injured. But I think a lot of questions have come forward so far. Persons are asking, why were these persons out past the permitted time? Another person was asking, was this man indeed ran over by the police? And viewers, some residents have also alleged that the driver of the vehicle actually escaped. So the next big question is, was anyone apprehended? How exactly did this ordeal end? Lots of questions to be answered, but those details are not available at this point, but nevertheless should be forthcoming, hopefully within a detailed report from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. But nevertheless, Kyla, a very, very tragic story.
Most definitely. As you said, a lot of questions. We have not had any answers as yet. Hopefully, those will be forthcoming in the near future. But Javon, if we remember, this is about probably the second high-speed chase through the eastern area in about a month or so. So it's really concerning, I would say.
Definitely. I agree with you.
Definitely.
Viewers, now within the same breath, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is also seeking the public's help in resolving two unsolved murders. Cardinal Roberto Foy, also known as Wolf of Rogues Bay, who was found dead at Windy Hill, is the first victim. He was found on the 26th of May in 2011. Witnesses stated that on the night of the 25th of May 2011, the victim was abducted from his Rogues Bay residence by masked gunmen demanding money. He was then taken from his residence by the said masked men, who bounded up his wife and left. Now, later that morning, police received information from a witness that the body of a lifeless male was seen along the Windy Hill main road. Police responded to the scene and discovered the body of the victim, who was fatally wounded by a gunshot. This year, viewers, marks the 9th year anniversary of the incident, and no one is yet to be identified as the perpetrator to this crime. Now, viewers, the police is also seeking your assistance in identifying the perpetrators responsible for the murder of local male Jefferson Mark Joseph, who was also gunned down in the vicinity of the CSY dock at Bargers Bay on the 16th of April 2017. Now, the details are of such that on the 16th of April 2017, the victim was at a bar at the above-mentioned location. Sometime around 3:30 a.m. on the said day, the victim left the bar with a female and walked to an area opposite the Water and Sewage Company, where his vehicle was parked. Witnesses reported that shortly after the vehicle started, a sundry of gunshots were heard, and the vehicle was seen spinning out of control and crashed eventually into the water and sewage fencing. Now, the police and ambulance were summoned, and the victim was discovered dead on the scene. The female suffered minimal injuries. Now, viewers, this year marks the 3rd year since the incident, and no one is yet to be identified again for this crime. Detectives of the said unit are very hopeful that members of the community may have crucial information to assist in identifying those responsible for both of these murders, and of course to be able to bring some closure to the grieving families. Again, anyone with information relating to these crimes are urged to contact Detective Inspector Vernon LaRoque directly on the number 368-9809. Again, that number is 368-9809, or the Major Crime Investigation Team on 368-5682. All information will be treated with strict confidence. Now, viewers, a really sad story. Again, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force doing their part, but really appealing to the public to come forward with the much needed information to solve these murders and also to give the families of the deceased some much needed relief.
Most definitely, Javon. As you stated, 9 years later for one case and 3 years later for the next. And really, as you said, giving families just a peace of mind. You never get a peace of mind after a family member is killed, but just appealing to the public to come forward with any information that they might have. But viewers, that is it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And my name is Javon Wilson, thanking you so much for joining us and reminding you as well, tonight is the big rollout of government's economic response stimulus plan. That is 8 p.m. You can tune into 284 Media for live coverage, so be sure to join us. You can also join us again tomorrow, Friday, for another edition of 284 News. Thank you so much for joining us.